As her third grandchild, I had the privilege of calling this very special woman Buffy. I know that she touched each and every one of her 9 grandchildren and 12 great-grandchildren in a very personal and meaningful way, and we all loved her, and we will all miss her. So what can I say about my Buffy that hasn't already been said? What made her so special? Yes, she was a Holocaust survivor. She lived through and witnessed unspeakable horrors, most of which she would never talk about. But with her devoted Nathan, my Zadie, by her side, she was able to raise a family, and she always took such good care of everyone. With Buffy, it was never about her needs. It was always about your needs. What could she do for you? How could she help you? So I just wanted to share a few thoughts about what made her so special to me, and to thank her for all the things she did for me. One memory I have of my Buffy is from a long time ago. It was the summer of 1985. I was 8 years old, and Buffy wanted to do something special with me. So she took me one afternoon on the bus with her. She didn't drive a car. And she took me to Wheaton Plaza. We went to the movies together, my Buffy and me. We saw The Goonies. If you're not familiar with the movie, it's a classic 80s comedy adventure full of pirate ships and treasure and bad guys and monsters and plenty of booby traps. I highly recommend it to all 8-year-olds. Now, I'm pretty sure that I enjoyed that movie a lot more than she did. And thinking back, after 30 years have passed, the whole thing seems pretty insignificant. In fact, I found out many years later, I wasn't the only grandchild she took to see that movie that summer. But she never told me that. She wanted to make me feel special. She just wanted to do something nice for her grandson. And I always remembered that. Anyone who ever knew her knew the kind of sweet, caring, and gentle person that she was. She loved to cook, and bake, and pickle, and bake, and cook some more. I mean, she fed you a lot. And if you ever had the privilege of cooking or baking together with your Buffy, having her show you how to make one of her famous dishes or delectable desserts, you'd know that when it comes time to mix the ingredients, you don't just mix them in a bowl. No. You have to mix it good up. That's what she'd say, mix it good up. Buffy didn't have the greatest command of the English language. She spoke what sounded sort of like Ebonics, but with the Yiddish accent. She was well known for her expert gardening skills too. She loved harvesting her cucumbers, her tomatoes, her blueberries, planting so many varieties of colorful flowers. I mean, you might say she was a greener, but I'm pretty sure the green was mostly in her thumb. We used to live on Kent Mill Road, just 10 minutes or so walk from my grandparents' house on Lamberton Drive. So as kids, we would spend a lot of time at our Buffy and Zadie's house. It really was the center of the entire family. Throughout the years, there were countless birthday parties, Hanukkah celebrations, barbecues, she called them cookouts, holidays, Yom Tov meals, or just a couple of hours on a Shabbos afternoon for a visit. Those were wonderful times spent as a family, my siblings and me, our parents. More often than not, our uncles, our aunts, our cousins were there too. It was really, really nice. Eventually, we moved to Potomac, but my friends were still in Kent Mill. So I would come back to Kent Mill quite often, very often, on a Shabbos, to see my friends, and naturally I'd stay with Buffy and Zadie. It became a fairly regular routine for me. I had my room where I would always stay, and of course, Buffy would always make an abundance of delicious food for me to eat, much more than I ever possibly could. She used to complain to me that I didn't eat enough. She would say to me, "Joey, you don't eat nothing. You eat like a bird." I suppose I did. But over time, I think I wore her down. And eventually, it seems she may have given up on me because as years passed, She stopped complaining about how I ate. She just gave me a big plate of food and said, "Eat how much you like." And that's what I did. I don't think she was ever too impressed with my eating. I remember after every one of my Shabbos visits with them, and I was packed up and ready to go, or really any time I would ever leave their house, before she'd let me walk out that front door, she would say to me, without fail, "Make sure you drive careful." To which, of course, I'd reply, "I know, Bubby, I will." But that wasn't enough. She'd always follow that up immediately with, "I mean it, drive careful, please." And I'd say, "I will, Bubby, I promise." This could sometimes go on back and forth a few times until she was positive that I meant it. I felt very much at home in their house. It was in many ways like a second home to me. And I will forever cherish the time that I spent there, and more importantly, the time that I spent with her. So what makes a Bubby special? She stuffs you with delicious food. She dotes over you. She fusses over you. She's a little overprotective, but she's got a liberal candy and bubblegum policy. She teaches you Abyssal Yiddish. She loves her family. Selma Blitzstein was the embodiment of the very definition of what a Bubby is. She was a textbook Bubby. But that doesn't really matter, does it? It doesn't really mean anything. The only thing that matters is that she was our Bubby. She was my Bubby. And she was special to me. She wanted me to be happy when I was 8 years old. So she took me on the bus to the movies, and she spent the afternoon with me. And just last week, when I visited with her, and she knew then, she knew that she was dying. And she knew that she was saying goodbye for the last time. She said goodbye to me the same way she's always said goodbye to me for as long as I can ever remember. Anytime she was ever saying goodbye, she said, "You should be happy and healthy. Take care of yourself and take care of your family. I love you. And I wish you all the best. Bubby, we miss you and we love you. We will take care of ourselves and our families. But one thing's for certain, our family will never be the same again."